Good afternoon, everyone. In today's video, we are going to be looking more at the tropical disturbance, which will be going over over portions of the Caribbean and then headed towards the state of Florida, as the chances of it developing have increased as it tracks further west towards the United States. Now, looking at the current satellite imagery, we currently have some thunderstorm activity across the Gulf of Mexico. You can see we have a tropical wave coming off the coast of Africa, and you can see our tropical disturbance is currently just east of the Lesser Antilles, and it currently has a 60% chance of cyclone formation in about 7 days. And looking at the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center, you can see we have our tropical disturbance, which has that 60% chance of formation in 7 days, reading a large tropical wave centered several hundred miles east of the Lesser Antilles is producing limited shower activity due to environmental dry air. Conditions are forecast to become a little more conducive for development over the warmer waters of the southwestern Atlantic Ocean, and a tropical depression could form late this week while the system is in the vicinity of the Greater Antilles or the Bahamas. Interest in the Greater Antilles, the Bahamas, and southeastern U.S. should monitor the progress of the system. And you can see this arrow, which is meaning that it will not develop in this area. It will develop in that orange highlighted area. Now, looking at current ensembles from this tropical disturbance, you can see this is pretty much kind of like your spaghetti models, but these are just ensembles, which is spitting out really any possibilities with these storms. So this is a bunch of different models that you're looking at right now. And as you can see, you have a lot of them that are tracking this track where it's heading towards kind of the Carolinas and then making a much more northeastern turn, which in this area it'll start really starting to develop due to those very warm waters just off the eastern coast of Florida, and then it'll be heading off to the northeast. It could bring some impacts to portions of the eastern coast, much more the northern coast. Nothing major, but maybe some more like wind and rain associated with the system. So main people that need to monitor the storm is mainly those that are closer to the eastern coastline across the southeast, and maybe even areas of closer to Maryland and New York City, but the main area that will see impacts from the system will probably be off the coast of the Carolinas, Georgia, and again a wild card chance of impacts across the Maryland area. Now, looking at the latest GFS run, here's our system right down here, and right now the GFS typically kind of hypes storms up. The GFS has really not done much with the storm at all. The GFS does not like this storm developing in that area. And the GFS has actually been putting the storm into the Gulf of Mexico and developing once it enters the Gulf as maybe a tropical depression. But again, GFS does not have this storm really developing at all off the east coast. It makes the system head through Florida and into the Gulf, and then it forms, which is weird, as we have that Bermuda high, which typically takes these storms up to the north before it reaches the Gulf of Mexico. Now, look at the Euro run. You can see we have that same system that's currently east of the Lesser Antilles. This heads northwest and heads through the Caribbean, bringing a lot of rainfall. Not much wind, but definitely a lot of rainfall. And then it heads just off the eastern coast of Florida, which it starts to develop that low pressure system, starts to strengthen into a tropical depression, and then we might have a tropical storm here just off the eastern coast of the Carolinas, maybe by August 5th. And this starts to head northeast, and Euro even says this could be a potential hurricane off the eastern coast of the United States, even a stronger hurricane potentially heading into Canada. So we're gonna have to watch the system closely, because again, not many people are talking about this system because it's such a weird system that we're going to be monitoring over the next week. Here's a CMC model, which again, it's kind of like the Euro model with that path, but it develops much later. It develops just off the coast of North Carolina, and really definitely not as strong as the Euro run, but definitely still a strong looking storm by the time it hits areas of Nova Scotia area. And look at the icon model. This is similar to the Euro model. It has it developing just off the east coast of Florida and then heads up as a potential tropical storm, even a possible hurricane as we head later into like August 6th, August 7th. If it does become a hurricane, it's going to be more off the coast of the Carolinas rather than east of Florida. I do expect this to become a tropical depression, probably in between the coastlines of Georgia and Florida, because we have very warm waters right over here, and given low wind shear in this area, I do expect some sort of rapid intensification, not into a major hurricane or anything like that, but probably into a tropical depression or tropical storm. And looking at current sea surface temperatures, like I said, we have very warm waters just off the east coast of Florida, and the Gulf continues to heat up. As the eastern Gulf, we have 31 to 32 Celsius, extremely warm water, primed for hurricane season. And yesterday we checked, and the Caribbean was actually a little bit cool. Now it is really starting to heat up, 29 Celsius across the majority of the Caribbean, as hurricane season is starting to ramp back up again. Once this storm, after this storm, I believe the Atlantic will start to wake up for probably middle of August to late August. We'll start to get some more frequent storms and hurricanes as we head towards the peak of hurricane season around middle of September. I do think this storm will probably become an invest by Friday as it reaches closer to that area where we think it's going to develop. It typically becomes an invest by then. We might even have an invest by Thursday as well. So stay tuned for more details. I'll have daily uploads on this. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new and turn on post notifications. You won't miss a single upload or live stream on the channel. Make sure to share this video with any friends or family that may be impacted by this storm. Anyone in the Caribbean along the east coast of the United States, as I will continue hurricane updates for the rest of the hurricane season. But as always, I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe.